Welcome to Anime Studio Debut 7. New in Anime Studio Debut 7 is the Beginner's Mode. The Beginner's Mode displays the key tools used in Anime Studio and includes feature rollover descriptions and video tutorials to quickly get you familiar with the program. You can also easily toggle between the Beginner's Mode and the regular tool palette by just unchecking the box at the top right hand corner. So what you will see here is if you roll your cursor over the tool, it will show you the description for the tool, and if you roll it over a grayed out tool, you will see why that particular tool is grayed out. So for example, the add point tool says that the vector layer needs to be selected in the layers window. So if I move down the layers window and select a vector layer, for example the hair layer, you will now see that the add point tool, the freehand tool, the draw shape tool, etc. are all enabled. Everything you're going to draw in Anime Studio, you're going to draw at frame 0. For example, if I select the draw shape tool, I can now click and drag to add a star to my scene. If I click on the video button, you will see that there's a quick video tutorial that will guide you through the different steps it takes to create a shape using the Draw Shape tool. There's a quick video tutorial for each of the tools in the beginner's mode that you can watch to make yourself familiar with the tools. Now you can easily toggle between the beginner's mode and the regular mode. I'm going to switch the beginner's mode off and switch over to the regular mode. Now we're going to start out with a new page by going to File, New. I'm going to go through some of the different tools in Anime Studio. So for example, we have the Add Point tool. And all I do is click and drag, and I'm creating these different points. And when you see the green circle, that allows you to automatically weld the shape if you have auto weld turned on. And autofill will automatically fill the shape with the color you've selected in the style menu. All you have to do is double click and change the color. And anything you create from now on will automatically utilize this darker shade as the fill color. Also, if I move my cursor over the existing shape with the Add Point tool, you will see that now I can add additional points. Those red circles will show me where I can add additional points to my shape that I can then later manipulate, for example, with the Translate Points tool to create a wide variety of different shapes. These can also be animated in the timeline. So for example, if I go to frame 6 here, I can click and drag and move these points around. If I go to frame 12, I can move some other points around, and if I scrub back through the timeline, you'll now see that I've quickly animated the shape. This also applies to the other tools, such as the Scale Points tool, which allows you to resize all the different points that you have selected. And again, if you click on the center here, you will be able to resize the entire shape. Or if you use the Select Points tool, you can just click and drag over the points that you want to select and then resize them using the Scale Points tool. There's also a Rotate tool and a wide variety of other different tools, such as a pen tool that you can use, the Freehand tool. And this is very similar to drawing with a pen on paper. We have a wide variety of settings, so we can choose a different width, for example 15. And if I hold down my Alt key, I can actually change the color of the stroke very quickly. I can also choose from a wide variety of different brushes by double-clicking the No Brush option in my Style palette, my Style window. And if I hold down the Alt key again here, I'm going to change the stroke to red. I'm going to change the pattern of the brush, the style. You see a wide variety of different styles that you can choose from. Then I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to hide layer 1, move to layer 2. I'm going to use the Draw Shape tool. Again, the Draw Shape tool allows you to quickly create a wide variety of different shapes using these presets. And all you have to do is click and drag to create your shape, and it's using whatever style I have preset here. So I can double click and change the style to none, and you'll see that the outline or stroke of the star has changed quite a bit. Now we also have a wide variety of different fill tools. So what the Select Shape tool allows me to do is click and select a certain shape, and automatically will display the style that I have selected and created using that particular shape. So for example here, I have this particular brush that you will see here, and also have a red outline and a brown fill. And I can easily just click and select. And what it allows me to do is if I click and select the right hand star here, for example, and I again click in my style window, I can easily and quickly change the color. This can also be animated. So if I move to frame 6 and click inside the star with the Select Shape tool and change my color to yellow and hit enter, and scrub back through the timeline, you'll now see that the star is changing from blue to yellow. Also, we have a Paint Bucket tool. You can quickly select any color and just click inside the shape to fill it. We also have a Line Width tool. So if you click and drag and select a certain point, you can adjust the width for that point. If you select all the points in that particular layer or that particular shape, you can then use the Line Width tool as well to adjust the width for that shape. Also, we have a wide array of different layer options. So we have the Translate layer tool that allows me to move around all the objects in my layer. So if I go and actually go to, let's say, frame 18 and move all these shapes around that are part of layer 2, you'll see that I've now created an animation with that as well. I can also turn the Show Path option on at the top, and that will show me the direction, the path of my animation here. You'll see that this will move along the path that I have set. Also, we have a flip horizontally and a flip vertically option as well, and we have a scale layer option that allows me to quickly resize my shapes that are part of that layer. Again, this can be animated as well. And we also have a rotate layer function. We also have a wide variety of different camera tools, which can come in very handy if you're, for example, showing a zoom in and out function. You may want to show a character that's coming into the scene, so the camera angles are great for that as well. And we also have a great new tool in Anime Studio Debut 7 called the Follow Path tool. Now to demonstrate this, I'm going to start out with a new scene here. And the Follow Path tool in Anime Studio Debut 7 allows you to automatically have a character or object follow and bend along a pre-drawn path, which makes animating along curves very easy. So I'm going to use my Freehand tool and draw a curve here. I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to draw a star. Select my original layer. And now I'm going to select the star layer, use the Follow Path tool, move in my timeline, and you'll see that now this star will automatically bend and move along this path. And now I can go and scrub through my timeline, and you'll see that this star is moving along the pre-drawn path, which makes animating along curves very easy. Another great new feature that we have in Anime Studio Debut 7 is the content library. And the content library makes keeping all of your Anime Studio content organized very easy. You can quickly browse through existing content, and can also add content to your scene via a simple drag and drop. And you can also save your own content to the library. So there's a wide variety of different options. You can search for content by keyword, or you can add some of your favorite content as a favorite to your favorites tab in the content library, which makes reusing it in the future very easy. All I have to do is click and drag, and I can easily add existing elements to my scene. Now, new in Anime Studio Debut 7 is also the Toon Filter. And what the Toon Filter allows me to do is apply a cartoon style effect to any image or video. Now to do this, all I have to do is select my image, double click it, and in the Image tab here, select Toon Effect. Now this will automatically apply a cartoon style effect to my image, and I can click on the edge levels here and using my scroll wheel on my mouse, quickly adjust the gray level, black level, saturation, lightness, etc. of my image. And this is very handy if you're, for example, importing a photograph and you want to quickly apply a cartoon style effect to an image. All I have to do now is hit OK. And I'm going to show you another new tool in Anime Studio Debut 7. Anime Studio Debut 7 has an image masking tool, which makes it very easy to mask out certain parts of your image. All I have to do is click and drag, and now I'm masking out parts of this image. And this is really something that's easily demonstrated if I was to change the background. For example, if I go to my preferences here and change the background color to green, you'll quickly see the areas here that are green are the areas that have been masked out. And again, this is very useful if you're, for example, importing a photograph and you want to do some jib-jab style animation using a picture of yourself. You can quickly mask out the background. Now we're going to move on to bone rigging. Anime Studio has a very powerful bone rigging system, making it very easy to quickly create your own animations by applying bones to existing drawings, characters, and shapes. Now to do that, all we have to do is start out with a shape. So in this case, you can also obviously create your own character using the pen tool or the add point tool, but in this case I'm going to use a star to demonstrate this feature. I'm going to change my fill here to green. I'm going to change the background, the editor color back to a lighter yellow, and I'm going to create a star, clicking and dragging. Now to add bones to the star, you'll see that these bone tools are grayed out in my bone menu and the tools menu. All I have to do is go to my layers window here, select bone, and then click and drag the layer into the bone layer. And you'll see that that layer is part of the bone layer, because if you expand or collapse that bone layer, you'll see that it'll appear as part of that layer. So now over here we have this add bone tool that allows us to quickly add bones to our character. So all I have to do is click and drag, click and drag, and if I hit my up key, I can select that original bone. And you can think of that original bone as the spine or root bone that everything will rotate around and that you're binding the other bones to. So click and drag, hit the up key, click and drag. Now, instead of hitting the up key, you can also use the select bone tool to select the main bone and then use the add bone tool to add an additional bone. Hitting the up key just simplifies that process and speeds it up. Now at frame 0, we can test out our skeleton by just using the manipulate bones tool and moving the bones around to see what we have set up. Now I can easily animate this by moving through time. So if I go to frame 6, I can now go in and quickly animate this by adjusting the bones here. Now what I can also do is I can also utilize lip syncing. Now Anime Studio has built-in lip syncing, making it very easy to animate your character and add life to your character by adding dialogue. Now, one of the new features in Anime Studio Debut 7 is built-in audio recording. Audio recording allows you to quickly create your own sound clips right within Anime Studio and then adjust the pitch from high to low to fit your animated characters. To get started, I just click on the record button. Hi, I'm the new Anime Studio Debut 7. Hit playback. Hi, I'm the new Anime Studio Debut 7.
Hi, I'm the new Anime Studio Debut 7.
And I can easily adjust the pitch.
Hi, I'm the new Anime Studio Debut 7.
And in this case, I'm going to call this test file 1.wave. And you'll now see it appear over here in my layers palette and also is represented down below in my timeline as well. Now I'm going to add a mouth from the library. I'm going to go back to the content library and I'm going to go to the props tab here at the top and I'm going to select a mouth. Click and drag, select mouth 3, click and drag it into the scene, and I'm going to use the scale layer tool to resize the mouth. Position it, and I'm going to double click this mouth. Now you will see this arrow here on this group layer, and what that is, it's a switch layer. And what a switch layer does, it will allow you to rotate through these different shapes, and you can actually set keyframes, which I will show you a little bit later with one of the existing characters. All I have to do now is double click on mouth 3, select test file 1.wave, and you'll see these keyframes that have been created here at the bottom. And if I hit playback,
Hi, I'm the new Anime Studio Debut 7.
you'll see that I've quickly created an animation with a talking character, in this case a star. So now what I'm going to show is I'm going to show how we can quickly animate a character using one of the existing characters in our library here. So in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to load in Jace by clicking and dragging and selecting him and adding him to the scene. And then I'm going to animate him with the manipulate bones tool. So I'm going to move to frame 6, going to click and drag to move his arm up, his right leg over and his left leg over. And if I scrub back through my timeline, you now see that I've created a quick animation using this pre-existing character. Also, if I expand the view over here, you can see that Jace has been set up with switch layers for his mouth, eyes, right hand, and left hand. And I can actually animate them. So if I right-click the switch layer folder and select look left, you'll see that the eye movement is changing. If I go back to up to frame 12 and select wink left, now his eye movement is changing again. And I can do the same with his hand. So I could right-click and say hand, right fist, and I could move to frame 12 and I could say left hand open. And if I play back the animation, you will see now I've quickly created an animation with this existing character. I can also sync up his mouth. So if I wanted to make this character talk, I could either utilize the audio recording function in Anime Studio Debut 7, or I could go back into my library and choose from some of the existing sound files. So I'm going to go to the audio tab, select greetings, happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Double click happy birthday, and you now see this has been added to my timeline. In the timeline, you also see a sequencer, and what that sequencer allows you to do is mix animation with audio and video. It can quickly arrange certain parts of your animation that you want to bring in at certain times. So if I click and drag my sound file here to frame 30, what this means is that the sound won't start playing until I hit frame 30. Now I'm going to move the Happy Birthday sound file back to frame 0 on the Sequencer tab, and I'm going to select the mouse switch layer in the Layers window. I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to select the Happy Birthday sound file from the drop-down menu on the Switch Layer tab. Now I'm going to hit OK, and you will see that these keyframes have automatically been created for the different mouth movements according to the sound file. So if I hit play,
Happy birthday!
You will see that the mouth movements are now animated, and if I zoom in, you can really see that it's automatically switching through the different mouth movements. Now when you're done, you can output your animation as either a flash file, SWF, or a QuickTime movie. You can also set the start and end frame. So in this case, our animation is 40 frames long, so I would go to File, Export Animation, and I would set the end frame to 40. You can also share your animations online with friends by either uploading them to YouTube or Facebook, or you can also upload them to Stuff It Connect to collaborate on projects. We hope you enjoy Anime Studio Debut 7.